Hey guys, this is Ken with MinnoTank, and I have Raj with Raj NATION Innovation. And today we're going to talk about the subject of get 'em high. We're going to teach startups how to make your pitch a performance by getting someone high on your product or service and the investment opportunity. Raj, take it away.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you again for having me. So let's get 'em high. Remember, I don't know if you're a hip hop fan, but remember Kanye had a song back in like 2004. It was called Get 'em High, and it was like, throw your hands, get 'em high, you know?
I think because I went to Florida State University, I was more of a T-Pain fan, where your hands go up and they stay there. And then up, down, up, down. Yeah, that's
well,
me.
Before T-Pain was buying drinks for you, Kanye was telling you to get him high.
Understood. Yeah, got it.
The drink cup was so high that you can't even... Anyways.
Understood.
Okay, so what I want to talk to today, the idea of get 'em high is as a founder, these are simple branding techniques or simple branding examples, rather, that illustrate how tech companies have been able to get customers essentially high on their own supply and give themselves, as a company, a competitive edge over their competition. Because how else would you have a competitive edge if it wasn't over your competition? So we're going to talk through 3 examples today of some really, I think just unique ways. These are all free or low cost ways to use branding to make your startup more attractive to your customers. And as we know, the more attractive you are to customers, the more attractive you are ultimately to investors.
Yep.
So the first example, get 'em high, is Spotify, right? We all know Spotify. Most of us use their music service. If you recall, Ken, so right now it's 2018. Text messaging is pretty good. Like now you can throw like animated emojis in text messages and things like that. And if I text you right now in 2018, if I text you a link to, say, a YouTube video, it's going to actually populate the thumbnail in that text message. And I think you can press play and preview it in thumbnail mode, right? That was not always the case, as you may recall. In fact, I think it was not until late 2016 was that implemented, and it wasn't even, I think it was widespread by early end of quarter 1 of 2017 when the new software updates all started coming out.
Got it.
So prior to that, if you sent the text message out, it was like the worst user experience possible. Let's say I wanted you to listen to a podcast. If I sent you the link to the podcast, it would just give you the 800 character URL chain.
Yep.
Wouldn't give you any idea of like what show or what episode or what part or anything I wanted you to listen to. It was awful.
And it's this mysterious link, and you say to yourself, like in today's world, you say, do I want to click this link? Do I want to be indicted for like Russian meddling? Is that me today? Probably not. So you don't want to, like for me, I won't click links. I'm like, I don't know what the heck this is. Sorry.
Russian meddling, like Olympic meddling, or Russian meddling like with 2 Ds?
I was making a joke about geopolitical issues. Yeah, that was the issue.
But both are relevant.
My double entendre skills. I'm just saying, there's like nothing I can't do. I'm just saying. Keep going.
I like the swagger bounce. Okay, so sharing hyperlinks was just the worst, right? And if you are someone receiving that text, like you said, like you're like, I don't know, what is this? Like, it's probably not going to be spam or anything, but you're just kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to like dig into this. I don't want to do the work of clicking it and having to figure out what you're trying to send me.
And just to clarify, Raj, this is whenever we're using something like Spotify and we want to share with somebody else, right? Exactly. Hey, I found an awesome new song. And in today's world, it's really confusing because you have a couple different ways to do it. Email is not really appropriate for like fun song things. Might be using Facebook Messenger, which like 100 million people in the world do. But everyone has text messaging. That is like a clarifying, like that's a total thing that everyone has, but everyone has different levels of phones. So then it gets weird. Yeah. So just clarifying what we're talking about. Keep going.
Yeah. So, you know, and specifically in that time period before the software updates came out where sending hyperlinks became like a graphical experience, it was just that long character string, which, you know, every other company out there, if you use their share feature, you know, text someone this, whatever, it's going to give you that long character string. And Spotify actually used this terrible technology to their own advantage. Because what Spotify did that no one else did was if I were to send you a text during that time period, Ken, and I said I wanted you to listen to a song, it would actually pre-populate text before the hyperlink, and it would say, here's a song for you, ... Africa by Toto, : and then it would give you the hyperlink. And that's very simple, right? The 5 words, here's a song for you, automatically personalizes it now. And I remember the first time I got that message, I actually thought someone was texting me and actually was like, hey, I was listening to this. I bet you would like it too. Which in their mind, they're probably thinking that, but you don't as a person think, hey, share button, I'm going to now do other things to it, which is automatically thrown in there for you. And if you look at Spotify from, I think it was mid 2015, and I have a Medium article, we can put it in the comments where I wrote about this. If you look from like mid 2015 to early 2017, and remember early 2017 was like when the new sharing became ubiquitous.
Right.
Spotify gained 32 million subscribers, paid subscribers, and dropped their churn to 2.2%.
Amazing. What an amazing company.
And obviously that's not like the only thing that's getting them 32 million subscribers. They got marketing and all that stuff, right? But it definitely helps because it creates a better user experience. Because now, let's say I'm one of those people who did like the 3-month trial, or is only on like the like the ad-free version or the paid ads version. Now, if I keep getting, if someone's sending me a song that, hey, I picked this out for you. Well, now it's like, oh, well, this is a service that's I can connect with better because my friends are on it too. They're finding songs that I would like. It makes more sense for me to convert to being a paid subscriber.
Right. Got it.
Talking point number 2 here on Get 'em High is Lyft, the ride-sharing service, right? Most of us, if we live in a metropolitan area, or sometimes even if not, have taken a Lyft ride before.
Yep.
They're Uber's competitor. They are the Uber competitor. Now, what Lyft does, I'm sure you've probably noticed this because it's prevalent at this point, but Lyft encourages you to sit in the front seat, not in the back seat. They make it a friendlier ride, and you've noticed people look at Uber as the friendlier brand, or excuse me, people look at Lyft as the friendlier brand as compared to Uber.
Right.
Even in like the imagery and the branding, like Uber kind of has the more like technology viewpoint of it, and
it's aloof. It's very like Uber. Whereas Lyft and to your point of sit in the front seat, but there's also a huge marketing campaign, at least right now, which is it matters how you get there. Yes. Which is why it's trying to say quality. Do not look at price. Look at quality of your experience every time, and we win on quality, which is so interesting because it's very intelligent. If you don't want to have the price battle with your competitors, you need to direct the focus of your audience and your customers towards something else. And Lyft is doing a great job. Sit in the front seat. Also, matters how you get there. Focus on the things that matter that you can control, which are experience.
You'll find too, like, and it's kind of interesting in the origin of both companies, right? Uber started, the original rollout was just luxury cars. So it was already a high-end experience that they then made mainstream. Lyft started as value curve, like, let me enter the market at the low end and get mass adoption. So that it was like almost inherently built into their DNA. But the idea of, sit in the front seat, it literally cost them nothing to tell people, sit in the front seat instead of the back seat. And then look at how much that changes the experience. And look at how many people you've seen write a Facebook status. Oh my God, I had the craziest conversation with my Lyft driver. They read my chakras, like all this stuff.
It's true. I've had some really interesting conversations, but also some enlightening ones. Let me share a quick one because this is so fun. One of the most genius growth hacking strategies I've ever heard was on a Lyft ride. Who knew? You say to yourself, like, I'm spending $9 to go, halfway across town, which is an amazing value already. Right. But the gentleman was a DJ, and I was telling him about my YouTube channel and how I'm trying to figure out how do I get more growth in my YouTube channel. And I'm like, I don't know, I think I was gossiping, struggling, whatever I was saying. And he said, oh, you should do what my DJ channel does. And I said, oh, what's that? That's interesting. Sure, what do you do? And he said, we do paid per share. So while we're doing a set, or if we do a set live or even not live, we will pay per share. So we share our video, for example, on Facebook, and we say we will donate $1 to blank charity for every single share we get.
Huh.
They're getting paid X for their set, but their most important thing is get their music out there because that indicatively increases likes, increases attention. That's what they really want. And so they'd end up spending probably $500 or $600. So 500 or 600 shares is already amazing. Now you have several 100,000 people doing what you're doing. But more importantly, they now have someone else they can support. They can go to any nonprofit and say, hey, we want to support you next time. Please bring your audience into what we're doing. Genius. $500 or $600 gets you nothing on Facebook ads or Google ads. Is that not genius?
I might have to bump that idea for myself.
I'm telling you, from a Lyft ride. And so, like, experience is paramount as compared to Uber, where I feel like I'm completely intruding on someone's, like, very nice car with my disgusting, dirty boots. And I say, like, and the guy gives me, like, a sneering glare in the back seat. So, yeah. Lyft I will always be passionate about Lyft, and it's a really interesting choice. But yeah, that's my little mini 2 cents of genius that came out of a Lyft ride.
Well, so a friend of mine recently did a TEDx talk. His name is Rob Collier, and his talk was, I think it was titled something like "Why Billion-Dollar Brands Are Chasing Intimacy." We can link that up as well in the comments. But his whole thesis, his idea was that you have these brands that make a ton of money. And they have such wide reach, but they're all, like, so many of them are focusing hard on how do you create an intimate experience with your customer?
Sure.
Because people want closeness. They want to feel valued. They want to feel good about themselves. They want to feel a connection to something, whether it's, direct one-to-one or being part of a community, whatever that is. And he used Lyft as an example in his talk where he brought up the idea of front seat riding versus back seat riding. So it's that idea that what they did, and it's totally free, is just tell people, sit in the front. Treat it like it's your friend's car. Don't treat it like you're taking a taxi.
Yeah, it's smart. It's really smart. All right, what's our next piece, Raj?
Get them high, point number 3. This one's pretty quick and dirty. Contact lenses? Really? Contact lenses as a tech company? Are you talking about a bionic eye? No, I am not. I'm talking about 1-800-CONTACTS. 1-800-CONTACTS. If anyone wears contact lenses, as I do, you may have heard of 1-800-CONTACTS, but it essentially takes out having to go to the optometrist or go to, say like Lens Crafters.
Right.
And order your contacts online and have them shipped to your door. Super easy process.
Raj, can we laugh at the next generation? Will they even understand what 1-800 is? I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
I actually, when we were talking about doing this segment, I was saying to myself, will like, and so also my intern is much younger than me. So he calls himself them Centennials. So if I am like a 20, something like a 1990s is a millennial, they're the Centennials. Will Centennial even understand 1-800? I don't think so. So that's a very funny brand for 1-800-CONTACTS. But yes, we actually on MinnoTank, we hosted Frey for Men, which is high-end male laundry detergent, which you wouldn't think is a tech company. But one of the reasons why I like to talk about tech companies as subscription services is owning that entire pipeline of your customer base, right? Yeah. Whereas, like, let's say you're General Mills and, like, you have your oats. You do not own usually the storefront. You do not own your marketing strategy. You do not own the logistics company. You own none of that. Whereas when you're a tech company, meaning you own from the moment they arrive at your website to the moment it arrives at your door, they own that entire process. Yeah. They can change, contort, misfunction, replace, and they have the ability to change also rapidly with technology. So they are a tech company indeed, and it's interesting how fast they can grow by being a tech company and taking something as simple as razors with its Dollar Shave Club or contacts with its 1-800-CONTACTS. But tech implements over all these things on a subscription basis. So I love talking about like physical things that you can subscribe in tech basis.
Sorry. I love that, and it's a very good point you made, especially for a company like 1-800-CONTACTS where you only reorder every year or maybe every 6 months, maybe, right? But usually once a year is when you're buying. So how do they keep you like around? They have used humor so well. And I'm telling you, I had never touched 1-800-CONTACTS before this year or end of 2017 when I ordered my new contacts for the year. And what they do, again, free method. They just infuse humor into their brand to make it something you'd want to come back to. Yeah, it was a great user experience from order to delivery to my door. But within that too, they just made it funny. Like if you go to their FAQ on their website, which after you order, they do a really good job of just sending you like a good email sequence to let you know, like, here's what's happening. Here's how you can stay in touch with us. And here's why we like you. And part of that is, hey, do you really know what's going on in your contact, like with your contact lenses? Do you know how to care for them? And I've been wearing contacts since 5th grade. I got them real early.
Right.
And at this point in my life, I've been wearing them for 20 years. I'm pretty sure I know how to actually wear my contacts and use them and take care of them. But they got me to click and read their FAQ article And I actually learned something, and now I take care of my contacts appropriately, which is apparently I wasn't doing for the last 20 years. Maybe why my eyes got so bad. But if you look at like part of their FAQ, they have like, hey, here's our do's and don'ts. Do use the brand of solution recommended by your eye doctor. Do use fresh solution every day. Do rub your lenses with solution to break up proteins and debris. Which that one right there, I was like, oh, I was not doing that for a while. But then in the middle of their do's and don'ts, they say, avoid making your own saline solution. Yes, we wrote avoid in a do-don't list. We like to keep things interesting. So like just something as simple as that, just being human about it, being real, and just being like, hey, like this is a dry subject. Let's touch it up a little bit so that it makes it interesting. That goes so far. And now like I don't just associate 1-800 contacts for simplicity. I associate them with being like fun and like a brand that and I don't say this as like a marketer wanting to be like, oh, I identify with brands because I'm a marketer. It's like, no, like just as a human being, I'm like, this is a cool company. I would want to recommend people to them just for the fact that, yeah, it's a great service, but also like they were very relatable. And it's so much different than your standard Luxottica lens crafters like experience. And again, totally free to just put humor into your copy.
And highly scalable too, right? Like that can reach 10,000 different people. That can be completely different, unique experience for each one. Yes. I love companies that make themselves more realistic. We talk about this a lot when it comes to startups and being authentic. You are a small, tiny company. Do not try to sound like a Fortune 500 competitor of what you are. There's no reason to do that. I could give a litany of lists of different tech companies that are looking to take on much larger markets themselves, insurance markets, financial advisor markets. How they win is being relatable and not being this antiquated, massive monolith with it. And I like the word sterile. Sterile is one of my favorite words for big brands. They're too big. They have not invested over 5 or 10 years of creating that equity with you in that conversation. Yeah. And there's very few times, like Starbucks is one of the very few examples I think that actually can keep doing that. Obviously, it's a daily item that you drink every day, but people have a personal relationship to Starbucks. Each and every person does in their own way. Whether you hate it or you love it, you have a relationship to it, which is really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and there's the idea of the sterile, right? Like let's come back to the Lyft Uber example. And I have no problems with Uber as a company. I mean, in terms of the service they provide, but if I'm going to associate, if I think about the brand of Uber and the brand of Lyft, the word I would tie Uber to is sterile, and the word I would tie Lyft to is friendly.
Sure. Which is they paid a lot of money and they're really happy you just said that.
Yeah, and it's even like look at the logos of each, right? I mean, Lyft is fine. It's like kind of cursive writing, but when Uber did their redesign 2 years ago, they changed it to and they explained our logo is now a bit and an atom. Like they are going with the tech play. I'm not saying it's not going to work for them, right? Because they have these big self-driving cars in their future and all that stuff. Like they want to be a tech company. They don't want to be a ride-sharing company.
Sure.
But that in turn allowed Lyft to honestly create huge market adoption and become a serious competitor because Lyft could go with the friendliness play, the customer intimacy play.
And the problem is when you look at any kind of commoditized system, right? So if the ultimate goal, and this is really funny, we're spending so much time, but it's a really interesting conversation to have. Like I think Lyft and an Uber is a very dichotomous relationship, and it's not like a Pepsi Coke, right? Because both those things are bad for you, and you're just deciding which poison do I want to choose, right? Like that's really what it is, right? And it's not like a Advil versus Bayer, where they both solve the same problem and they have very little difference, and you just decide it's much more focused on price. Right. This is a situation where you have to take a personal interaction. There's always going to be a brand atmosphere around it. So you are deciding which experience do I want, and Lyft sees that opportunity when Uber said we're going to be super tech, we're going to probably phase out humans, which is something that kind of hurts, right? You're not there yet, Uber. So you got to rely on 1 million or 500,000 drivers for the next 4 to 5 years. And people are not dumb. They realize, Uber's investing hundreds of millions in self-driving cars and they're talking about it consistently.
I drive for Lyft.
Right. You get the better, and so it's really interesting. And then Lyft does so many things to make it a much more positive emotional experience. And what I'm trying to say here is it's a commodity, right? I want to get from A to B. So there is no difference really in Lyft and Uber. I'm really just getting from A to B. And so it's all about experience. And so if you're smart, like Lyft was, they said, how can we hone in on that experience, sit in the front seat, It matters how you get there. Be friendly. It's truly genius.
And what comes with the territory of commodity is essentially price-controlled market, right? You don't have much room to jack up prices because people run to the competitor. But that's why the stuff we've talked about today makes so much sense, because especially when you're in a price-controlled market. I mean, it works if not price-controlled, but if it's commoditized, these kinds of things make all the difference, right? Like with Spotify, yeah, I guess subscribing to music is a luxury, but that's also like become one of the only ways to listen to music unless you have terrestrial radio, like in your car. I mean, I still have like a large iTunes library. I feel like I'm the only one who still also uses iTunes.
Not me. Nope.
Right? See? And so like Spotify can't really go above $9.99 a month or whatever, or maybe it's $7.99 a month. And that's almost pushing it because you're like, well, Netflix, I get video. And
that's why I love it whenever people compare any subscription service to Netflix. They're like, oh, wait, Netflix is this, right? So like Netflix sets the bar. Like, I love me some Netflix, another emotional brand. We can talk about it all day. But I think let's hold on to the point here that it's so important that we're high on these brands. We know these brands. We're using them. We're talking about them. Everyone knows the things that we're talking about, whether it's Lyft or 1-800-CONTACTS. Even though I don't wear contacts, huzzah, I love my glasses. But I know my glasses company is actually called Zenni. And I have a huge emotional relationship to them because they gave me a great price, extremely fast service, and they actually gave me an extra free pair of glasses, which is something I would have never expected. They, under-promised, over-delivered. They said, we thought you might like these. What? What? What an amazing idea. Genius. Am I going to go to anyone else? Absolutely not. So I think the important part here is getting high on brands and really getting an emotional connection to them, which we're obviously both jazzed up, right? Like, this is exciting.
Yeah, this was our most like animate conversation.
We're gossiping. Yeah, we're gossiping.
We're tech gossiping.
Awesome, Raj. Well, I think that's enough for today. We're going to put all the links to all the conversation we had. So the article you referenced, as well as all the brands, we're going to put all that in the comments below. If you guys have any questions for Raj and Raj Nation Innovation about anything we talked about today, or the pitches, or anything about his strategy, please put it in the comments below, and we'll make sure we answer those questions next episode. Thank you guys very much. Thanks, Raj.
I'll see you when I get there.
Okay. All right.